Miami Heat Nation, what is going on? So, we got some NBA trade rumors involving the Miami Heat, and free agency is literally this Sunday, and I honestly can't wait. And the Miami Heat can't make major moves, but they can make these type of moves to improve the roster. After having a great draft, now we just got to fill the little needs that we need heading into the season so we can compete against a New York Knicks team or a Boston Celtics. So it says, keep an eye on the Spurs and Heat having dialogue in regard to Keldon Johnson and or Trey Jones if the Heat can't get an all-star to shake loose via trade in the early days of free agency. He also said Brandon Ingram continues to come to mind in regard to a player that would interest the Heat. Now, I can say the Miami Heat like Brandon Ingram a lot, and they have a lot of interest in him, and don't be surprised if he does get traded to the Miami Heat, but I'll talk about that a little later on. Now, talking about Keldon Johnson or Trey Jones, to be honest with you guys, if you don't know who they are, they're amazing pickups. Like, really amazing pickups. And I'll kind of go more in details right now. So with Keldon Johnson, he averaged about 16 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists while shooting 45% from the field. Plays a small forward position, about 6'5", 220. To be honest with you guys, he is a better scorer than Caleb Martin, and he can produce offense right away. And also is a solid three-point shooter and come off the bench and, play that six-man role, whatever the case may be. And honestly, I think our offense will be pretty good. Crazy thing is, he had a down season compared to the season before because he was a 22-point scorer 2 years ago. 22 points a game, 5 rebounds, and about 3 assists. Like, this dude can hoop. His career average is about 16 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and he's pretty healthy if you notice. 60, 69, 63, 25, 69, 17. And also what I do like about Keldon Johnson is that, one, he can create his own shot. 2, he's also 24 years old. So fairly young, especially with all the draft capital, the players that we brought in. I think he fits the timeline perfectly. Now, going to a player like Trey Jones isn't really known as a scorer, but can come into the Miami Heat as a backup role. He's only 24 years old too, averaging about 10 points a game, about 4 rebounds and 6 assists while shooting 50% from the field. So he can, back up Terry Rozier, and he's just a very good playmaker and still fairly young. And we all know the Miami Heat love to build up young talent. And like I said, 24 years old, I think he'll fit perfect with the Miami Heat culture. Going from, the Spurs culture to the Heat culture, he's going to learn a lot. And then obviously going to the Brandon Ingram thing. A lot of people are not really interested in Brandon Ingram, and I understand it. I'm not a big fan of Brandon Ingram, but if that's the only star that we can get at this point, and we don't really got to give up too much like Jaime and Jovic, then I'm fine with it, to be honest with you guys. He's a 20-point scorer. If he remains healthy, I think he can fit perfectly with us. I understand him and Jimmy kind of have the same style of play, but I feel like with the Miami Heat, they're thinking, okay, let's pair them up, Jimmy, Brandon Ingram, and Bam. But when Jimmy is done and done and his contract's over, our future is a Brandon Ingram, a Bam Adebayo, a Kelly Ware, Jovic, and Jaime. I think that's what the Miami Heat. So they're looking to win now, but they're also looking for the future, and that's what an organization does. So don't be too mad with Brandon Ingram trade. Like I said, I know it's not a Donovan Mitchell trade. I know it's not like a Trey Young trade, but I think this is probably the more realistic. His trade value isn't the greatest. And all the players that we're looking to trade for, like Trey Jones and Keldon Johnson, they can definitely help out this roster right away, as soon as possible, fill in the holes, backup point guard, replace Caleb Martin, and also improve. So let us know what you guys think and follow for more Miami Heat content.